Stealth, a weird game with weird physics while also being quite short. It seems like quite an innocent, buggy game made by someone in early 2010s Scratch. However, it is one of the most broken and technical games I will ever cover on this channel. Despite being such a tiny community, they've discovered many game-breaking glitches and massive oversights that have taken the world record to incredibly low times. It makes for an insanely precise game that has such massive time saves but can easily be refined and instantly be hard to beat. Let's see how people got there. This is the history of Stealth World Records. Now, what is Stealth? Well, Stealth is a game released back somewhere in 2013. The game is a very simple premise. You're a criminal, you are there to steal a diamond. There are a total of 6 levels, each being around 16 to 17 seconds, and the controls are simple. Up to climb, space to knock out guards, climb pipes, and hide behind crates, and finally the most important of all, down to shoot. It makes for a simple, innocent-looking game. And although the speedrunning scene took nearly 11 years to start, a small community began to really enjoy and like this game. Somewhere in early February of 2024, a lone runner began speedrunning this game. His name was Cpyrus. And on February 9, 2024, he would complete the first ever speedrun that has video. Stealth, completed in 1 minute and 55 seconds. Level 1 pretty much shows every important part of the game. He climbed a ladder to knock this guard out, then proceeded by entering this door. Level 2 is by far the shortest, where you just climb this ladder to shoot down a gate to enter level 3. Level 3 is one of the slower levels, but we're not even getting close. You have to wait for the guard to turn around twice, then walk towards a crate to hide behind it. Wait another few seconds until the guard is vulnerable, and take him out. Level 4 introduces a mechanic that makes the game so much more longer, alarms. See, in order to complete this stage, you have to climb this pipe, turn on an alarm and wait an incredibly long 5.5 seconds for this guard to walk and climb to the ladder so that you take him out. Level 5's shorter, with Cpyrus setting off an unnecessary alarm which cost him maybe 2 seconds at best. After climbing this pipe, it is on to by far the longest level in the game, level 6. You begin by climbing this pipe to set off another alarm which once again, takes 5.5 seconds for the guard to walk. Then, you have to climb the pipe again to drop midway through to the other side to ambush this guard. You steal the diamond, shoot down this final gate and, the first stealth run was completed. For its time with undeveloped strategies it was pretty well done, although there could be a couple of improvements here and there. Around a day later, he got a small world record of 154.967, a world record by exactly half a second. It actually featured a really bad pace into level 6, being more than 1.5 seconds behind his world record. Then in level 6, he decided to do a new strategy where he just completely ignored the first guard at the alarm, saving around 4 seconds. He did also collect this completely useless key, but it was still just enough to get a world record. Then another record, 152.100. In this run he managed to gold 4 times in a row, starting from level 3. It seemed like Cpyrus could be the only runner for a while. He was very good at the game and improvements were pouring in. However, a new runner started playing this game, and he was rivaling Cpyrus's gameplay. He will go on to be one of the most important people in this game's history ever. It's time to introduce Tiring Tires. On the 20th of February, Tiring would begin a solid run which was barely not even with the record. However, he slowly lost time in levels 4 and 5, and in level 5 he just turned on the alarm which cost him 0.4. However, in level 6, he proceeded to play the best level 6 ever. This allowed him to edge out a record by 0.8 seconds. and 5 days later, the first sub-150 was completed. Tiring managed to get a 1:47, a 3-second world record improvement. Between levels 1 through 4, he was literally deadlocked with the world record. However, he saved nearly 3 seconds in level 5, as he didn't start up the alarm. Level 6 was even better, as he got another gold, albeit the gold was small, but it was enough to crush the sub-150 barrier. In the description of the run, however, Tiring said this: he wanted a level 3 1 cycle. This trick was theorized but was never even done in practice or individual levels. I think you can see where this is going, kind of. Because on the 29th of February, Sapirus would make his appearance back. He managed to get on a run that was a few hundredths ahead of the world record, and so, he decided to go all out, and go for a trick that actually has been never done anywhere. What you just saw was an insanely precise quote-unquote one-cycle trick in level 3. You have to start walking within a 4-frame window, else the guard will turn around quickly and shoot you on the spot. But when done, this saves 5 whole seconds. He did lose time on level 4, but it wasn't by much, and quickly managed to gold level 5. He then proceeded to gold level 6 by nearly 2 seconds, which was incredible. The level was amazing and very clean, nearly no mistakes. It looked hard to improve on a run like this. It allowed for a 140.285. This was nearly 139 potential, which seemed impossible just days ago. However, Tiring would respond a day later. However, in this run, he improved the world record by over 20 seconds. But, how come? How are you able to save 25 seconds with these little optimizations? Well, the run will look so much more different. Let me introduce you to gun clips. It's such a simple and extremely safe and time-saving trick. All you have to do is spam down, and you'll slowly sink to the ground. This was quite literally groundbreaking. Tiring went to work making a new route for stealth, and on March 1st, he started a run with the brand new gun clips. In level 1, instead of knocking out the guard and using doors, Tiring climbed up the ladder and gun clip to skip having to walk and knocking out the guard. The second level to be affected by this glitch is level 3, as you can literally walk under the room, and then enter the door to proceed. However, the level that was affected the most by the gun clips was level 4. You could skip doing all of climbing the pipe and setting off the alarm by just clipping under the starting platform and taking out the guard. This saved big time. The rest of the game was performed normally, but half of the game was so much more different, and allowed Tiring to save 25 seconds against the world record. Stealth was just revolutionized, and who knows what more tech could be found with these new gun clips. Now, as you're watching this, I know you may be asking, why aren't they just walking under the whole game? Well, that would be extremely boring and wouldn't be much of a challenging speedrun. So, a few days after the glitch was discovered, stealth was divided into 3 categories. In unrestricted, you could clip into the ground and essentially beat the game walking under all the rooms. Restricted meant you couldn't use gun clips whatsoever. And so, the most popular, prestigious and best category was born: no major skips. Tiring's 114 was now the new standard. Around 2 days later, Tiring would get a low 113. It featured an amazing pace, as he was on pace for a 112. Unfortunately, he shot down a gate too early in level 5, causing him to be pushed back and had to shoot an extra time, costing him half a second. He managed to save time on level 6, but it wasn't what it could have been. Missing 112 by a few tenths was quite soul-crushing, but Tiring continued on. And he managed to get it, getting a 112.630. Out of level 4, he had an incredible 0.7 lead out of the level. He then maintained this lead steadily in level 5. However, he was facing against a level 6 gold, which was scary. However, he thankfully didn't lose 112 potential, and got it. It was essentially nearing the end for stealth. 111 was possible, but it'd take a lot of effort for Tiring, and he was pretty much thinking about quitting, But he did still leave a huge mark on the history of stealth. However, a runner in the forums posted a massive new time save. His name is Bedman, and he found a new strategy that was in luckily enough level 6, and saved nearly 10 seconds. It's time to introduce the level 6 skip. Now this looks weird at first glance, but here's the explanation. See, when you die, you're not exactly fully dead. The game stops your movement abilities the moment the death cutscene stops, halting the whole game. So during this window, you can still actually move while dying, which is called the zombie state. If you clip near the alarm in level 6, you can enter the zombie state and actually barely touch the edge of the screen to make the game move to the final room to skip doing most of level 6. And so with this, Tiring actually had a new massive time save to improve the world record by multiple seconds, and so 5 days later, Tiring would get back to speedruns, looking for a time of 1:02. All he wanted was a decent pace that wasn't terrible, hit level 6 skip and he had an easy record. That's kind of how it seemed to be in the first 2 levels, being a few hundredths behind. However, it got interesting when he managed to gold both level 3 and level 4, he was now 0.1 ahead. Unfortunately, he'd lose that lead in level 5, but he was still a tiny bit behind. He did the gun clip and the time crushed his goal of 1:02. 1:01.349. It was incredible. If Tiring just saved time around these splits, he could get a run, under 1 minute. This seemed so hard, and seemed impossible back then. However, it could be barely possible. And so, he did more runs. His goal now was sub-minute. It actually took a while for Tiring to prepare doing runs, as he began around 20 days after getting the 1:01, but on that day, the 29th, he'd start up a run. It began with a mediocre pace. He was 0.1 behind and maintained that pace in level 3, although he did save a few hundredths. The whole run would be saved, however, thanks to a near second gold in level 4, he now jumped to being 0.7 ahead of world record. And he managed to gold level 5 as well, by 0.3. If he saved enough time, he could get the sub-minute. But there was still level 6 skip, essentially a coin toss for time save. Unfortunately, he lost time. The final time was 1:05.67. But this run did show potential for sub-minute. He just had to save enough time while also not losing too much against his incredible levels 4 and 5 golds. All he had to do was just get a decent pace out of level 5, and 59 was his. This was it. He was 0.2 ahead of the world record and he had enough time to save on level 6 for sub-minute. He just had to focus up and this would be it. He wasn't so sure. He may have split too late because of how focused he was just on the game. So he went to retime the run, and the final time was... Tiring had done it. 59.850 was now the first sub-minute ever achieved in any percent, no major skips. It was pure elation for him and he knew that after this, stealth would be kind of hard to improve on, and so, he took a break. That record would stand for the rest of April, May and June. Going into July, this record was still on top for almost 3 months. However, let's take a look at who is at second place. Bedman, the discoverer of level 6 skip. He hadn't ran stealth in a while, however he did want to find new tricks to get his first world record. And while facing against the world record splits one day, he did something extremely weird. In level 4 he missed taking out the guard. But instead of the guard just shooting him and run over, this happened. How the hell could this happen now? Well, after finishing the run, which was a world record, Bedman decided to look into this a lot. And he found something game-breaking, another massive time save. It's time for the wacky world of box storage. In Stealth, the game has a hidden value. It can be two different numbers. If you hide behind crates, this is set to 1. If you hide behind dark lights, it's set to negative. However, the game responds weirdly to something specific. If you hide behind crates, then immediately reset the game by pressing the green flag. When you hide behind dark lights and leave them, the game still has your hidden value set at -1 for the rest of the game. This immediately resets after you knock out a guard. With this new discovery, Bedman just found you could be invincible for nearly the rest of the game, and level 2 thankfully has some dark lights in the path. Oh yeah, and as for the world record Bedman got, it was an insane 56.843. This run was literally green splits throughout, and got a gold on level 4 thanks to the new box storage trick. There were about 2 more places you could use box storage, one of them could save time. It was clear that this trick would draw in new players and even older ones. And it just so happened that one of these outcomes happened, because somewhere in early November, Tiring would come back to get a time of 53 seconds. Now this sounds crazy, but it does make sense. You could improve on levels a bit more, and even skip doing level 6 skip by just walking past the guards thanks to box storage. And on November 4th, Tiring would start runs. Just like how with level 6 skip was discovered, all he needed was a decent pace out of level 5, and then easily get level 6 skip for an easy record. The run began solidly, getting 2 green splits in levels 1 and 2. He proceeded to then gain a solid 10th in level 3, and he was now 0.1 ahead of his personal best. However, he'd slowly lose time in levels 4 and 5, the usual suspects. This was quite reminiscent of his 101 back then. He gained lots of time in the first few stages, then was behind by level 5, but with lots of time to save. And he did manage to save time. Later, the run would be retimed to a 53.979, the first 53 in the game. And as of now, this seems to be the final second barrier a human can get in Stealth. But that isn't where the world record stands today, because on the 30th of November, Bedman would get the current Stealth world record of 53.658. It's literally just a run that saved time in level 4 thanks to an insane clip, enough to be ahead of the record. He then closed out the run to take his record back. As of now, this might be the end of the road for Stealth. Literally 9 months ago, it seemed like that. It's kind of insane how at one point a 111 was considered to be the end of the road for Stealth. Now, runners will literally need to shave time out of thin air thanks to how optimized this game is. It is straight up remarkable how much tech was found in less than a year, and how low the world record times have been taken down. It's impressive to see a runner even have such a prestigious world record like Stealth. Stealth just seems like some buggy, innocent-looking game. It's interesting at first glance, but you don't really replay it. However, these runners know what's supposed to be done. This is the type of game I've wanted to cover in over a year now, as the game is just so unbelievably charming thanks to its glitches. It isn't like much of the more popular games where they have better tech, but this game is awesome in its own right. And throughout many changes and new time saves, this game was by far my favorite I have ever covered. This was the history of Stealth World Records. Thanks for watching. Hey guys, apologies for the new text-to-speech. Blame the website I used for taking down its text-to-speech feature. I had to use a voice clone. I still hope you enjoyed this video even with the new text-to-speech.